300 million shoppers used Amazon's AI assistant last year. And according to Amazon's own earnings call, these shoppers are 60% more likely to buy. But here's what should worry you. Rufus doesn't show your customers a list of search results. It gives them a short list, a handful of products it's confident enough to recommend. And if your listing doesn't give Rufus enough information to work with, your product won't show up at all. So over the next few minutes, I'll break down exactly how Rufus decides which products make that shortlist, why it might be skipping your product right now, and how to diagnose the problem in under 10 minutes. But let me get this one thing straight. My name is Kleidas, and I've spent the last 10 years in the Amazon ecosystem. What we're seeing right now is something new, and not everyone's adapting to the new Amazon's playbook. Right now, Rufus is quietly changing how our clients' products get discovered. But my team and I at AMZBs know what to do about it. Now, to optimize for Rufus, you need to understand how it actually processes information. Rufus is a custom large language model trained specifically on shopping data. Amazon has built it on top of their entire product catalog, all customer reviews, and every community Q&A. Then they enhanced it with a technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG in short. Here's what RAG means for you as a seller. Every time a customer asks Rufus a question, the system does not only rely on what it learned during the training, it actively goes out and retrieves the current information from multiple sources before generating an answer. So when someone asks, what's the best yoga mat for hot yoga under $50? Rufus parses the intent behind that question. The AI also selects which data sources are most relevant and retrieves information from those sources in real time. Then it generates a natural language response with specific product recommendations. And Rufus is not a single AI model. 5 systems are working together behind every recommendation. The first is the large language model layer, which handles the reasoning and language generation. The second system is RAG, the real-time retrieval layer I just described a minute ago. Number 3 is Cosmo, Amazon's semantic knowledge graph that maps product relationships, buyer intent, and contextual relevance. If you watched my Cosmo video, you already understand how powerful that layer is. Number 4 is computer vision and OCR. Rufus reads your listing text, but it also looks at your images, reads text overlays on your infographics, and analyzes what's actually shown in the photo. And the 5th system is behavioral personalization. Rufus now has full account memory. It knows what each individual shopper has purchased, browsed, added to cart, and what they even read on Kindle or watch in Prime Video. It uses all of that to personalize every single recommendation. For years, Amazon's A9 algorithm worked on keyword matching. You put the right words in your title, bullets, description, you matched what the customer typed, and your listing showed up. Relevance, conversion rate, and sales velocity determined your rank from there. Rufus operates on semantic understanding. It interprets the meaning and intent behind a customer's question and evaluates whether your product is the right answer, even if the customer never typed a single word that appears in your listing. Rufus works alongside A9. It doesn't replace it. Traditional search still governs the main results page. As a seller, you're now optimizing for 3 systems: A9, Cosmo, and Rufus. The good news is that the same principles, clarity, context, and completeness, help across all 3. Now, the real behavioral shift is on the buyer side. When shoppers use Rufus instead of the search bar, the entire browsing step disappears. The shopper asks a question, Rufus builds a short list, and that short list is all they see. For sellers, that means your product either made the cut or it didn't. There's no page 2 to fall back on. There's no second scroll. That's it. Before we get into the most important concept of this video, if you're finding it useful, please smash the subscribe button and like this video. And as a thank you for doing that, here's a picture of an Arctic fox. Now, I want to introduce a concept that most sellers haven't encountered yet. And honestly, it might be the most important takeaway from this entire video. Large language models are designed to avoid generating incorrect information. So when Rufus gets asked a specific question about a product and the listing doesn't provide enough data or information to answer that question confidently, Rufus has 2 options: make something up or skip the product and recommend a competitor that it can describe accurately without any mistakes. So obviously, Rufus is built to choose the latter. So think about what that means for your listing. If a customer asks, is this blender safe for hot liquids? And your listing never addresses temperature safety anywhere. Not in the bullets, not in the Q&A, and not in the images. Rufus will not guess. It will move on to a competitor whose listing gives a clear answer. This is known as a hallucination risk. The more complete, structured, and specific your listing data is, the lower your risk for hallucination. The more vague or missing your data is, the higher the chance that Rufus simply routes the customer to someone else. In the A9 era, a vague listing could still rank quite high if you just had the right keywords, strong reviews, and enough ad spend behind it, good click-through rates, and good conversion rates. In the Rufus era, a vague listing is effectively invisible in an AI-driven discovery. Rufus won't push you to page 2 or rank you lower. It will just skip your product entirely. So now that you understand what Rufus is looking for, why it skips certain products, here's the fastest way to find out where your listing actually stands with Rufus right now. So open the Amazon app on your phone, tap the Rufus icon, and start asking questions your customers would normally ask. For example, if you sell a desk chair, ask what's the best office desk chair for lower back pain under $300. If you sell vegan protein, ask what vegan protein powder is best for muscle recovery after intense workouts. Think about the real questions shoppers in your niche would actually type into that chat window. Now, look at the results. Does your product show up? If it does, what does Rufus say about it? Is the information accurate? And if your product doesn't appear, go to your listing directly and ask Rufus specific questions about your listing while you're on that page. If Rufus gives inaccurate answers or can't answer at all, you're looking directly at the gap. The missing piece is exactly what needs to be fixed in your listings copy, your images, your A+ content, or your backend attributes. This takes maybe 10 minutes, and it's the most direct diagnostic you have right now for understanding how Amazon's AI sees your product. But look, diagnosing a few Rufus answers is just the tip of the iceberg. The real danger isn't that Rufus gives the wrong answer, it's that Amazon is quietly moving from keyword-based algorithm to a semantic-based one. While you're manually checking one listing, Amazon's AI is already filtering out millions of products that don't have the deep structured data required to stay visible in 2026. If you want to be sure that you're not wasting time and money on the optimization mistakes most brands make, I recommend clicking the first link in the description to claim a free audit with my team. But maybe even more importantly, make sure to watch this next video where I give you the exact optimization framework we use at AMZBs to fix every gap Rufus looks for. 5 data sources and 5 sets of actions. I'm sure you'll find some gems in there for your brand because it's incredibly practical. And if you don't see it yet, just hit subscribe and the bell to get notified as soon as it's uploaded.